All right, up here, right along the Idaho border, a quarter mile that way. I'm gonna go up over this ridge and found a good spot for bear bait. Bagged 15 gallons of popcorn with sugar and raspberry powder poured all over it. Horse sweet grain. Got a big old bucket of, or barrel of bacon grease. Game camera. Brush cutting tools. And that'll be it. And then I'll see if I can get some pastries in the coming days and weeks. See if we can get a bear hitting this. I can't imagine why not. This doesn't get any pressure back in here for anything really. So fingers crossed. All right, it wasn't very far, but I'm sweating like a dog. So I was carrying like 70 pounds on my back and like 20 in my hands, 30 in my hands. I'm gonna try and set up my blind right through there in a flat spot up against a far pine over there. It's about 150 feet, 60 yards maybe. That's not ideal, but I didn't want to have to be a place I have to work like crazy to get into. And there's so many trees between here and there. I think if I brush it in real good, I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna pour this sweet feed into here and then ratchet this to this tree in hopes it stays in place and they don't pull it down the hill. Got the sweet feed in there. And now I'm gonna dump this popcorn in. And again, I dumped it into 5-gallon buckets after each little batch and poured white sugar, granular sugar, and Jello raspberry powder packs on it. Shook it around. Filled up one 5-gallon bucket at a time and then filled this bag. So it's just real sugary and sweet. Okay, got that all dumped in. You can see all that sugar and raspberry. Tastes like raspberry Jello. All right, I got a couple of buckets of leftover bacon grease from the past year, and this is the first of it. I'll put this in here and smear it around a bit. And then I've got this left over from last year. I'll pour that all over as well. Got it ratcheted to the tree. I don't like the setup. I wasn't able to go all the way around, so I think I'm gonna go buy a chain. I'm worried about the strength of these wires and all the torque on them. Normally it's wrapped around and the torque is on the barrel. So I'm not confident in this setup either. I think I'm gonna get a chain for this one and ratchet it up there just because of the precarious nature of where it's sitting. I have a feeling I come back in a week and it's gonna be ripped off there and down in the bottom somewhere, but at least we'll have them coming. All right, so I smeared that bacon grease all over these branches and up here, so as a scent, kind of like a wick, so the breeze will catch it going up and down this canyon and up and over this saddle here and then up the ridge. Got some grease outside, and then I took that savory bacon attractant and poured it. It smells like bacon. It smells like it's almost cooking bacon somewhere around here. And I poured it all over the ground. Ideally, they'll walk through that, and then just the bears can smell better than any animal on earth, I think, and they'll walk a mile, and the little specks of this that brush on the grass or hit the ground, other bears will catch that scent and follow it right back to here. So you pour that liquid stuff all over the ground as much as possible. And then I put these sticks in partly so if I am sitting in the blind once I set it up in a couple weeks, it'll take them some time to pull all that out and I have time to get set up. But really so I can come to the edge or come to my blind and look in and see if they've hit it or not. So it immediately tells you. I'm also gonna strap this game camera to the tree. You can see the puncture marks there and there from a couple years ago, last time I baited. The bear was chewing on my camera. He kept biting my camera. So hopefully it's still working. I just put fresh batteries in. So let's go set that up. I'll hook it to the tree and then I'll open it up while I film. This tree had a bunch of red ants at the base, so I think I'm steaming in them too. Anyway, so we're gonna open this guy up and do setup. See if it works. Let's see if I can remember how to do the menu. I'll do photo, set clock. I got the date and time set, and I'm just gonna put it on photo burst of 3. I think that's all I need to do, and then I think I click it to on. Let's open it to do something, and then it'll be infrared, and it'll trigger unless that's infrared is all busted up. And as you can see, it's aimed right at the barrel, so should get anything coming in. And I picked this spot because not only is it easy of access over this ridge, but it's got a game trail going right here, but mainly for the easy access. And just, I don't think anybody hunts in here. I did 2 big loops back in here. I don't see hardly any game trails, but I see lots of game sign. Almost seems like just where they come to hang out, so, or hide out. It's way back up in here where people don't hunt. I'm just trying to break down that brush. So, all right, so I'm gonna go clear the shooting lane straight through there. I'm gonna put my blind back in there, so I'll film from there in just a second. The sun will set behind me each evening, and it'll rise on that side, so not gonna be a good spot for mornings. But there's plenty of trees, so that'll be fine. I think I've got a flattish spot here where I can dig out with the shovel and put a ground blind in. I'm gonna pull a whole bunch of these logs now, pile them up. And then I just took my axe, but mostly my hand shears, I'm glad I brought those, and just clipped everything to the ground and used the axe to bust out dead branches. I'm closer than I'd like to be. There goes the squirrel. Probably go eat some of that popcorn. And it's another thing too, is putting the logs in there will keep at least the birds and squirrels out of there for a while till a bear comes and pummels it, pulls them out. But by then he'll probably chow down on everything, so they'll just be getting leftovers anyway. I'd rather be a little further out, but this drops off and gets really hairy down in there. I thought about cutting a swath down there and having a really long shot down, but I think if I can get in here in the dark and just sit quietly all day, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. First year with this area and this site, so. All right, I'm breathing heavy, but this is the platform I'll dig out for my trees, my ground blind. And then I piled a whole bunch of branches and then stuck young pine trees on either side, 3 on each side. So I've got a little 3-foot wide shooting gap to my barrel. A lot closer than I want to be. 100 yards would be ideal, but I don't know, 50-ish yards, 150 feet. And then I was nervous about the sun setting behind me in the evenings. I'd still like this built out, but at least I built the lattice work of branches, and then I went and cut a bigger pine and stuck it right there. So at least from their perspective, I've got a break behind me. And then when I set my ground blind, it'll just be the dome popping out. And I'll lay a whole bunch, I'll clip with pruners a whole bunch of branches and lay them across the top. So hopefully they get used to that sitting here and I'm not too close. I'll have to be more quiet inside the blind, which is what I like. just to sit and read through the day and see all the wildlife that comes in. Like I said, game trail going up across the top, side by side up and over the top. And the Idaho border is quarter mile that way, maybe half mile. I heard a chainsaw going way up the canyon. There is a forest road on the other ridge, but I just don't see any human trails, trash, signs of hunting through here. So I think it'll be quiet. All right, that's how you put in a bear site. I'm sweaty and I cut my hand using that hatchet. There's my side-by-side. Came up over this ridge. It's down over there, 300 or 400 yards. So quarter mile from the trail, but over and down on the other side. And I don't think this gets used too much with the Idaho border being right there. And this just isn't a heavily used side of the valley. And this is Wyoming. So pretty spot. Should be good hunting. Should have a couple months worth of hunting. I sprayed some of this that I had left as I went out. Lead bears off that game trail. And broke a saw on the way in, cutting a log that pinched on it, and then I had to use my what do you call it? I can't think. Had to use my winch. Kept wanting to say come along. To pull the log and pop it. Luckily it snapped and I was able to get my saw free, but anyway. Fun. Bear season, fall bear. So hopefully get a nice fat bear. Maybe even a couple if this is a good site. I just think it's gonna be awesome because there's not much pressure back here. It's Caribou National Forest all the way that way, forever. So the bears back here should be undisturbed.